I actually did this reading for me, but I know that if I needed this reading, then if you are watching this video, you also needed this reading. That's how it works in the quantum universe. So, this reading was regarding one of my weak points as of late, or what I guess I would deem as a weak point, has proven to be such for me, is enforcing my own personal boundaries. So, I was thinking about, as someone who is the explorer of shadows and does shadow work, I kept thinking about why it is that I really can't stand to be around people lately. I know that whenever I am around people lately, I get automatically drained, and very drained at that. And it doesn't matter who it is. And I started to just dig a little bit deeper and discovered that one very likely potential root is that I don't know how to enforce my own boundaries anymore lately. Somewhere along the line, I lost that, that knowing how to, that exertion of power to enforce boundaries. And because I don't know how to enforce my own boundaries, I let people walk all over my energy. I really do. And this is why I don't like being around people, because I already put it out there with my own energy that you can come in and do as you please, and that you can come in and do with my energy what you please. And that's the message that I'm sending, because I don't know how to enforce my own boundaries. And it's very rare that you will have someone who won't respond accordingly. It's very rare to have someone in your life who will see that and help you by respecting your boundaries that that should be there, and not walking all over your energy. And it's not so much that I don't know how to enforce my own boundaries. And for those of you who are watching and resonate with this message, you are going to completely feel what I'm saying. It's just that it's not so much that I don't know how to enforce my own boundaries with people lately. It's just as I go through my shadow work and I work on these things, there are repetitions, and I believe they're there to illuminate a lot of my hidden aspects to myself. And the more that I see this happening, the more that I can address the problems, the more that I can really consciously take note of it and consciously address the issues at hand. So I did a reading stating the fact that I know when my problem with enforcing my own boundaries occurred. I know when, and I'm pretty sure I know why, but I asked my higher self, who knows better than I do, who can see deeper than I can in my temporal perspective. What is the real, actual root to this problem? Where and why did this occur? My problem, enforcing my boundaries. And then I asked, how can I go about changing this pattern and improving for myself to finally start actually protecting my own energy and also being able to be around people and help other people. So I have done my reading here. I'll just show you one by one the cards. Again, if you're watching this video, it's quite likely you need this message too. If one person is struggling in a certain area, you're not the only one. That's how it works. So I have the Two of Cups here as my first card in reverse. When you have a card or more than one card in the reverse position, I wish you could see that better, is saying that this is the card that you need to focus on. This is the issue that you need to focus on within yourself. So reversals are internal cards. speaking of your inner world. And this is extremely important. This is why I do not deny reversals in my readings. They are incredibly important, bearing so much more depth of information. So with the Two of Cups in reverse, I've got an internal division. I have a split in myself, and I can see this to be very true, because it's only when I get into the presence of other people that I suddenly have an issue. It's almost like you flip a switch, and as soon as I get into the presence of other people, then I become like the people pleaser. I'm the people appeaser. When I'm on my own by myself or with someone that I absolutely trust, I can be more like normal me. The me, you know, who's got a head on her shoulders, you know. But as soon as I get into the presence of other people, it's pretty much like this. Someone asked you how you're doing. I was thinking about this earlier. How are you doing? My answer, the aspect of me that shows up in front of other people, would say in response, well, how do you want me to be doing? For the remainder of the time that I'm with you, I am doing exactly however it is you want me to be doing. I already know anyway that you expect me to say that I'm good. So if you want me to be fine and dandy, you got it. And when you encounter a split within yourself, when you encounter that kind of a split, that kind of a fragment, and that other part of you takes over, this indicates a deep wound. This indicates not just a deep wound, but the point of trauma. A point of trauma at which you split. Listen, trauma is anything that happens that is so profoundly devastating or profoundly like uncomprehendable. Like you can't even comprehend what just happened because it was so so incredibly either shocking or destructive, or whatever happened shocked your brain so much that it couldn't comprehend what just happened. And so what happens? Because you can't process what happened, in order to survive, you split from yourself. This is kind of for a different video, but just briefly. This is where a split happens. This is why a split happens. The point of trauma, which you stopped being able to process what was happening, and you split off so as to be able to keep moving forward. You created a separate life, essentially, so that you could continue to move forward with your life and do what you have to do to keep surviving, right? Essentially. So this is why the next card, in this reading is a special major arcana, in addition to the major arcana, called the multidimensional. Because what occurred to cause this problem is not, it didn't occur on just one level or in one facet. It didn't occur on the surface only. It didn't merely occur in one place or one aspect. This occurred on multiple dimensions of yourself. Multiple dimensions. This is a complex. The issue runs deep. So when you have a split in yourself, and as soon as you get around other people, and you switch to people appeaser, Miss People Appeaser, then this is just indicative of a deeper problem, a problem with more complexity. You know, it points to a much to woundings that actually did take place and occur on multiple levels, not just one area. So yeah, and then with the Hierophant, I have the Hierophant in reverse for the next card. Hierophant in reverse. So this is, the first two cards I just read you explain the why. This is the why. This is why this happened and where it happened and how. Like, that's your whole why. This begins with the Hierophant in reverse, begins the how. How do I move on from this? Move through this to become unified again. Unified in not just myself, but unified in my response to others, and unified within myself enough to start really enforcing those boundaries and protect my energy. Unified enough to act in my own defense instead of against my best interests, right? With the Hierophant in reverse, this represents, I'm going to show you the card. This really represents, I'm going to show it to you upright, but this is really the reverse meaning. But if you can see her expression, imagery is everything, especially in regards to the question pertaining to this reading. So that might be blurry. I hope not. But as you can see, you get the idea. Her eyes are wide open. She's stopped. And there's not just one aspect of her, not one perspective of her. There are two others on either side of her. Two others of her. These are two other additional aspects of herself. And she's stopped with her arms open, wide apart, and her eyes wide open. Like she's frozen, almost, like stopped. Finally, seeing things clearly. Seeing things in a way that she hadn't before. And this is going to impact every other dimension of herself. Every aspect of her that was ever wounded in the first place. We're finally seeing the truth. We're finally seeing things for exactly what they are. This is it's like an internal, to initiate this internal state of resolve. What the Hierophant in reverse is communicating is a renouncing of traditional or old beliefs. As it pertains to this particular reading, what the Hierophant in reverse is saying is that you have to go inside. Focus in, zero in, inside of yourself. Find those beliefs. Really, and this is shadow work, guys. This is like digging into and working with your higher self and your subconscious to ask questions, really deep questions. Do not be afraid to question yourself, because every time you question, you are this much closer to finding that answer. Every time you ask a question about yourself, you initiate automatically finding that answer. So renouncing your traditional beliefs, or renouncing traditional as in your most common pathways of belief here pertaining to this reading. Renouncing, finding your beliefs, those key beliefs that have gotten you in this pattern. So do this, like with a journal, because it's helpful. Ask yourself, what is it that I believe about myself? What beliefs have I acquired and taken as my own beliefs about myself that make me believe that if I do enforce my own boundaries, that I will lose people, or people won't like me, or you know, what beliefs are those? And really get specific. What beliefs got me to this point? And you know, how are they influencing my relationships? How are these beliefs, these core beliefs, influencing how I can or can't enforce my own boundaries, right? And when you pinpoint specific beliefs, I will tell you a couple of mine, for example. And I have a lot more digging to do, but I can think of a couple off the bat. If I don't please you, if I don't appease to you or how you want me to be, I do have a lot of digging to do on this, then I'm not worthy. And that's what it comes down to. Is this feeling of not being worthy. The only thing making me worthy is appeasing you and influencing you, causing you to look at me in such a way that I am approved of or worthy to be in this place. And I do believe that the very root of that is this wound I still need to work through, where I don't feel worthy as a person. Because if I felt worthy and this wasn't an issue, then I would have no fear around exerting my boundaries and like enforcing my own boundaries. I would have no issue there. So because of this, you know, I act the way I do around other people. It's actually become like, it's just become kind of automatic, I guess is a good word. Because as soon as I get around other people, it just became ingrained in me by myself that if I don't act a certain way to appease you, you know, then, yeah, I'm going to be denied, rejected, cast out. I myself am not enough in order for me to be kept around. I myself on my own am just not enough nor worthy enough to be kept around. So then I, over the years, have formed and molded myself to become this image, this perfect image of what everyone wants me to be. But I know that I can't uphold that very long because it's exhausting, and it's unrealistic. And this is why it is so hard for me to be around people for extended periods of time. This is why it's so hard for me to be in the company of others, for extended periods of time, because you just can't uphold that for that long. It's not realistic. So anyway, that is the Hierophant, renouncing old beliefs, pinpointing those beliefs, renouncing them, and taking on beliefs that are suitable to the truth of who you are, taking on new beliefs, believing the actual truth about yourself, and not these old ones that all they've done is put you in a position to compromise yourself. That said, additional messages and guidance here pertaining to this matter. The Queen of Wands and the Judgment in reverse. With the Judgment in reverse, again, pointing to an internal matter that needs your focus and your attention. The judgment that is to occur in yourself, and this isn't like I'm going to judge you type of thing. Judgment means like resolution. It means resolution. It means resolve, essentially. It means a shift into what no longer is right, and a shift into authenticity. Judgment is objective. Judgment is the truth. Judgment is the resolve that steps forward and says it's time to resolve this issue. And with this one in particular, when you turn inward and look at your own doubt, your self-doubt, all this doubt that you have about yourself, for instance, like that self-worth problem and that doubt that you are worthy at all if you can't appease other people, that needs resolve. That if you focus your energy on these issues in yourself, you bring about the judgment, you bring about the resolve, you bring about the it's almost like justice is served. This isn't the justice card though, but it's like when you address these issues and put light on the fact that you feel unworthy, that you doubt yourself so much, then it's like a light in the dark. It just automatically, the dark becomes light. So you shift this one way and completely change it and heal it. You heal it. Because when you give attention, voice, and energy to a matter, you automatically begin changing it. It's like an energetic law, So it really is. You give, when anything you give your attention, your energy, your thought and attention to, you are directing energy right through to that. And you thereby begin absolutely changing it. Molecularly, from a molecular standpoint to an entirety standpoint, you are changing that thing and setting that into motion. So when you focus your thoughts and energy on that internal state of doubt, unworthiness, and where that comes from, and when you start focusing on this issue so as to bring healing and so as to integrate it and give it your attention and your embrace for once, and you start to view this as, hey, this is where this problem is coming from. My self-doubt, my self-unworthiness, this inequity rather. When I start to notice you, notice the doubt, notice the unworthiness, notice those feelings, and recognize that these are the keys. These are the keys to those renouncing of old beliefs, the keys to planting a seed of confidence once again, to planting the seed of healing. You begin to integrate those things. They become transmuted and turned into something really good. They become the diamonds out of the dust, right? And you become someone of great internal growth, mature stature, someone who knows who they are, who is confident, and can, without a doubt, enforce their own boundaries courageously. This was a long reading, but worth it. This is the beauty of shadow work. It's not so much about the shadow, it's about the sunlight it produces. Have a great week.